supposed to do. And one thing that I've found to be helpful is that you're always told, well, don't look. I mean, sex is bad, so you got to look away. But when you do that, something in you is at war. Okay, it's bad. But then something is like, but it's not bad. It's very good. God said it was very good. So what I found to be helpful is when you see a beautiful woman, remember Psalm 84. How lovely is your dwelling place, Lord mighty God. And so when you see her, say that when you see her. You don't have to read the entire psalm while looking at her. I mean, just the first verse would suffice. But what about the idea of battling lust with gratitude? Where did she get that beauty? And learning, okay, how do I look at women? Do you have on this campus 1,000 temptations to hell, or do you have 1,000 reminders of the beauty of heaven? Which is it? And so if we can begin to transform the way we look, purity can become, I think, a little bit easier. Because a lot of Christian guys, I think, totally give up on chastity because they think that sexual desire is lust. And if you think sexual desire is lust, you can't get rid of your desires, and so you think you're always going to be failing. And I spoke at the Focus conference about 1.5 years ago. There were thousands of college students, and these guys came up that were serving on NET, International Evangelization Team, and they said, Jason, he's like, dude, here's the deal. He's like, we're all on NET together, and we're in this van with like 4 other girls, and they're like, Jason, they are beautiful, they are virtuous, they are intelligent, and they're like, Jason, we're sexually attracted to them. I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. You are sexually attracted to beautiful women that you're locked in a van with for months on end. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, you should probably go to counseling for that. You just gotta get, there's something clearly going wrong there. And they sense my sarcasm here. Like, the problem isn't that you have the desires. I'd be more concerned about you if you did not have those desires. The question is like, okay, now what do I do with it? And a priest told me once, he said, look, there's a difference between having a bird fly over your head and letting it make a nest in your hair. And so what I have found to be helpful is to remember that, okay, the woman's body, from the Garden of Eden, the woman's body was an invitation to Adam to love. The sight of her naked body was an invitation to love. And it's not enough to reject the invitation. Nope, not gonna lust, sex is bad. We have to accept the invitation to love. So often we've taken that invitation and we've turned it into lust. So what I'd say is when that pop-up ad happens, that immodest billboard, you have to respond to the beauty with love. So how do you respond to a billboard with love? You turn off the radio and you pray a rosary for that model on the billboard. You respond to her with love. You fast for her. When the flashbacks of the porn come back, and I know how they can stick in there for years, okay, instead of like, I can't think about that, because that doesn't work. It's like, don't think about an elephant right now, okay? Nobody think about an elephant right now. Elephant, floppy your big nose. You're gonna go nuts. Okay, so let's try something different. Okay, she came to your mind, that image that's burned in there. Okay, you pray for her right now. You drop into a decade for her. You run over to the port, and you pray for her. And then you're transforming the temptation into intercession. And I found the devil kind of starts to leave you alone. Because then you're taking what he's throwing at you and you're turning it against him for the glory of God. And so these little strategies that I've found to be helpful, you start to learn, okay, purity isn't about killing my desires. It's not about like throwing a bucket of water on a fire. Purity is about throwing lighter fluid onto that fire. It's about setting it ablaze. I mean, a better image could even be wind. That if you blow wind onto a little flame, little birthday candle, just puts that thing out. It's like if a love is just a little bit of lust and you just blow on it with purity, it kills it. But if it's a substantial fire, a bonfire, and you blow on it, it inflames it. And so the function of purity is actually to intensify love. John Paul II said, as we grow in chastity, you grow in an ever greater awareness of the gratuitous beauty of the male and female bodies. So it's not about killing desires, it's setting them ablaze. So if a lot of guys struggle of wanting to see too much too soon, I think a lot of girls struggle in being tempted to reveal too much too soon. In Love and Responsibility, John Paul said that in order for women to understand modesty, he said you first need insight into the male psychology of how different we are. So women constantly, because you're bombarded with these bogus expectations of what your bodies are supposed to look like, you look at your body and what you hone in on, what you do not like. I wish I could fix that. I wish that was different. I wish my earlobes are more even. I wish you nitpick the heck out of yourselves. And so what you lose sight of is that the woman is the most beautiful thing God put on earth. I mean, it is obvious. I mean, what do guys get addicted to on the internet? Looking at like flamingos or something, like waterfalls? Like, oh, my roommate caught me looking at rainbows on the internet again. It was a double rainbow. It looked like a triple rainbow. What does it mean? Well, nothing. gets even closer to the beauty of the woman. And you can see this in Scripture. I mean, the second creation account in Genesis, the woman is presented as the crescendo of creation. That God makes the sun and the stars and the moon and the bugs and the cows and the man, and then the woman. And when Adam sees her, I mean, he's beside himself. I mean, he sings this hymn, behold, at last, this one is flesh of my flesh and bone of my bones. He's like, whoa, man, that's where we get woman from in the Hebrew. Well, not really, but, he's beside himself. And I think what's kind of funny is when Eve first sees Adam, she doesn't say anything. She's like, that's nice. Like, come on. But the point behind all this is to understand that your body that you view, and I'm not saying women aren't sexually attracted to men. I mean, that's obviously a ridiculous generalization. But the fact is that the men at the sight of the woman's body needs to be reminded, the first call of my body is for you to love me. And sometimes when we see too much, we don't see the full person, sometimes we only see the body. And what becomes challenging is when there's girls walking around and they think that pants or tights are actually pants, when I just want to, for the record, tights are not pants, okay? I just want to, just a little footnote. And when the guy sees this, he has to actually make an effort to remind himself, no, she's more than that. And so through modesty, you're actually revealing more of yourself to us by inviting us to remember what is most important about you. And I remember when I dated a girl in college here, I mean, I'd never really dated like girls that dress modestly. And there was something captivating about that. It's like, wow, like she's trying to say like, my body is not the best thing I have to offer the universe. It's good, but there's something greater, which is me. And so you will not lift the veil over this body until you lift the veil over my face. And this respect that she had for herself was like, oh, I gotta write that down in my notebook.